What is up, everybody? I am your girl T. This is Not Your Average Podcast in the 716, and we are back. I got some ladies with me today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I'm so excited. Like, I've been waiting to do this, and I know we all have. So go ahead, ladies.
Okay.
Where we going to
Robin,
start?
yeah, Robin, you can go first.
Yeah, we'll do the round thing. Robin Mundy from Buffalo Fan Base, been around for about 20 years doing this kind of stuff. Happy to be here. I just love these women. Have missed all of you. T and I do a weekly podcast. We're having some fun. It's starting to come together. It's just good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Good to see you too.
I'm Nautica. I don't have a podcast. I'm just doing this for fun. But right now, I'm a disgruntled Bills fan. I think you would say. I don't know if I'm myself right now, but I'm happy to be back. It's been a while since I've seen these ladies, and these are so fun. So I'm excited to do this one again.
Cool.
All right, and I am Sarah Larson. I am a co-host for the Three Man Rush. We are actually rebranding our name right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we had three people. It was me, Jerry, and another person, and it's now just me and Jerry Ostrowski. So we are going to take out the three and decide on something else. We actually released
Two-man
the
rush.
name this week. No, we released the name this week. We're gonna do Line to Gain. With the
Nice.
W.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Very
So
cool.
that's we're currently going on Thursday nights, but when the season starts, we'll move back to it. We'll move to Wednesdays. We find, when we go on Wednesdays, we definitely get more people to tune in. But we do, obviously, the Bills, we do the NFL as a whole, but we also dive a lot into college, which has been
Sarah,
really
I watched
fun.
your senior bowl one with Jerry. The other thing was a few weeks ago, and I was really insightful because I don't really watch college football that much.
Yeah, and that's
but
kind
I
of where
liked
we're at right now. Is that we don't necessarily have a lot of college football fans, because there's no other than UB. I'm not gonna put UB down. There's no really good. Yeah, there's no really good, college in the local area. So a lot of people kind of never really took shape to it. But unless you were more like central New York, then you probably were a Cuse fan growing up, or the Ohio region, obviously Ohio State Buckeyes. As you could tell, I love them so much. But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. So you can catch us on YouTube, Twitter, and obviously follow me at Sarah_Larson.
Cool.
Yay. Be sure to tag me when you're doing your shows, and I'll retweet them out.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
You guys do a great job over there too. So
Yeah.
I tune in as well, and I don't really do college either, but definitely very insightful because I really don't like when this draft is coming up. I want to know like some guys I should be watching and interested in. But thank you for that. So let's just get into it because I know we're kind of frustrated as fans, as Bills fans, how that season ended. So let's just talk about the thoughts from the last game. How you guys felt about that last game?
It was a game. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I mean, like from start to finish, I just felt like we walked into that game, just unprepared, emotionally, physically. We weren't physical at all, and we just they look like they didn't want to be out there. They really didn't, and it sucks to have such a great season filled with so much, turmoil and everything come to an end like that. So I was there sitting like just in other, like, I was like, what is going on? Like, this isn't the team I've watched all year. Even though we hadn't looked great the second half of the season, it still wasn't, what I was expecting. So yeah, definitely was in, shock. And I walked out of there more, I guess, uneasy. That, like, I wasn't mad, I wasn't sad. I was like, what the heck just happened? And I think one good thing with me doing, podcasts and getting out there and talking so much is it didn't affect me the same way that it usually does.
Mhm.
Like I mean, I usually let it drag on for, weeks. The sadness. I wasn't really sad this time. I was just like, what the heck?
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, I feel like the same way. Like, honestly, I was more like mad. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, the fact that we didn't have any fight at all, it was just very much like, okay, let them walk down the field. Oh, we're just gonna punt again. Oh, we're just gonna throw it deep every single time. Like it was almost like there was no plan for either side of the ball. It was very just like unsettling to watch. I'm like, this is what we came up with for the playoff game. We're at home in front of the home fans. This is what y'all came up with. But what really made me mad was like defensively, especially. I was like, come on, like there's got to be some tape you could have watched to try and replicate what other teams did to beat the Bengals, man. Like it seemed like we were just like, okay, we're just gonna play deep zone and make a tackle, which we haven't tackled very well all year.
Oh.
And then offensively, it's been bubbling up the whole year, basically of like, okay, Josh, make a play. That was basically our offensive game plan. It really reared its head in this game where it was just Josh do something or the offense did not move one bit. And honestly, this game made me more mad than the 13 seconds because it was like, okay, Josh had a really good performance. Our offense is really moving and like, we could take this in next year. This year, it's like, well, where do we go from here? Like this was
They had some fight in them last
this was
season.
A terrible
Tons
outing.
of
No
fight.
one looked like they wanted to be there. It was sad to watch, and it's like, okay, so kind of back to square one. Where how do we fix this? You know what I mean? So that's kind of my feelings after that game.
Robin?
Yeah. Boy, I echo what both of you said. Very much so. It was so strange. I couldn't help but feel like what you were both saying about them not wanting to be there, not mentally being there. And it felt like to me there was no energy left.
Yeah.
That there was no gas left in their tank after what happened to DeMar. And there were issues before that. I agree with what you were saying, Nautica, about the whole season, but particularly the last half of the season. But in that last game, it felt like, oh my God, we just have to get through this game and then we can go to the off season. And
that's what it felt like, yeah.
It isn't that they didn't want to play. I think it was that they couldn't. Honestly, I think they were just mentally exhausted. And I don't have any other explanation for that. That's what it looked like to me. And as far as the game plan, it may have been the coaches too, Nautica. Like you said, the game plan looked like, what? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then I have to ask myself, because I saw this with Josh at Wyoming, his history of taking matters into his own hands. And if things aren't going well, then he gets frustrated and then he's throwing the ball down the field instead of looking for something that's, a little shorter.
Trying to win the game on one play.
Yeah. And you saw some of that. But I'm struck by what you both described feeling after the game. I'm so interested in what both of you had to say because it was the oddest feeling. I don't know that I've had a feeling like that. And I'm old, okay? I've been around for a lot of Bill seasons. And seriously, though, you guys, I mean, going back to like the 70s, the 60s, I don't ever remember a season ending with a team that was 13-3 and went into the playoffs, just like you were saying, Nautica, they're at home, they got all this stuff going, and then all of a sudden they just lay an egg.
Flat,
totally, completely flat. And so the only explanation to me is that there was no mental gas left in their tanks, and they just were out there, the plays.
I mean, like Sean McDermott said, or Brandon Beane, one of them said, your last game it tells you a lot. And from that last game, I'm with you, Sarah. I take on wins and losses crazy. My wife will even attest to this. She won't even talk to me because she knows I'm like, if we lose, I'm upset. Just give me a minute. Give me a day.
That's how I feel.
So it was frustrating as a fan to watch your team just lay a freaking egg. And like Diggs said, after week 9, after game 9, week 9, whatever the case may be, they just didn't have it. It was a struggle. The offense struggled. Like the first few games that we seen, that offense was clicking, and then it just went
After the
to
bye week, bro.
it
was
hit the
completely
bed.
different.
Yeah.
It was just like it was as a fan watching that offense, you looked at it and said, "Why does it look so hard for them to score?"
Yep.
Every team was
But then they
coming
would put up
down,
30,
boom,
and
boom,
then you'd be
boom.
like, okay, well, we're still winning.
Where's
We're
but
back.
where's the 30? You're like, they put up 30, like really? Because it looked like it was only 10. You know, because it looked like they struggled every time to get a first down. To you brung other players back because your offense was stagnant. That says a lot. It says a lot. So
I think what it reminded me a little bit of the Houston playoff game a couple years ago.
Yes.
I was at such a high at halftime, cautious, but still at such a high. I think it was like 16-0 or something.
Yeah.
And to come out and to just look like they had already thought they won the game.
Yeah.
And I think it was a little opposite with this one. I feel like they went into the game kind of already feeling like they had lost it.
Yes.
And maybe it's because it was against Cincinnati and we're going there was a lot of that mental of, this is a team that, that caused us this strife at the end of the season. Not that they physically caused the strife, but
Right.
this is who we were
Mentally.
playing against. I had kind of thought, thank God it's not in Cincinnati, because what we would have
It
to
would've
go
been
through with
terrible.
that.
On the same
and-
field?
Yeah, but it was just being on the same field with the same team.
Yeah.
I feel like from the first snap, we just didn't look like we wanted to be out there.
And also, like if you look at Cincinnati, how much motivation they had to win because of it was dumb motivation, but the
No,
ticket
it
sales-
was self-manufactured
Well, yeah, that
motivation.
was
I
like
don't believe in
the
any
thing
of
is,
that crap.
It worked. It
Yeah.
worked for them because they got
Oh,
up
yeah.
and
Just
kicked
like-
the crap out of us. So
Yeah, just like Kansas City coming out right after when they win the Super Bowl, and you
like,
got
no one
Kelsey.
believed in us.
No
Come
one
on.
believed in us. No one believed we were going to be here. Bull flipping crap.
Who said that?
Who in the world said that at
somebody
any point in
said
time?
that, and then they
Why?
said it.
Because Buffalo was slotted by Vegas to win
And
the
they
Super
were
Bowl.
second, so I'm not sure what they were talking
Hate
about.
that. I hate that. Stop predicting that the Bills are the Super Bowl, like paper champions. Like stop. Like I hate going into this season again. The Buffalo Bills are Super Bowl favorites.
It's like the
Stop.
Chargers.
Yeah.
Everybody picks the Chargers. So
Well,
it's-
yeah,
Yeah.
now I think we're third on the list right
Yeah.
now. I think
Good.
it's,
We can be on the bottom.
yes.
I'm good. I'm good with it. Just put us
I
on the
know.
bottom.
I think we all like that underdog
Yeah.
mentality.
And I think they like it too because
Yeah.
sometimes they play better as being that. I mean, but at some point you have to flip that page. You can't
Yeah.
always be the underdog. You
Yeah,
have
that
Josh
was-
Allen. You have
that's what I was
Stephon
saying the
Diggs.
entire
Like,
offseason, that we're
mindset
not-
has to
we're
change.
the hunted now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
we're not-
we are definitely the hunted now. And part of
Yes.
that makes me think a couple of years ago in 2020, one of Josh's, it was when he came out of his shell. It was like, the most amazing turn of events from 2019 to 2020,
Yeah.
the way he went
Yeah.
out there and played. He was also not playing in front of a crowd for most
Right.
of the
That is true.
season because it was COVID. So I
Yeah.
wondered if
Right.
if it allowed him to come out of his shell. And now it's like,
Mhm.
we all tend to say he does his best sometimes when it's prime time in front of all the cameras, but that's also when the most pressure's on you. So if all of a
Right.
sudden the team's not looking good, you're going to look like crap because you're trying to put everything on your shoulders. And,
Absolutely.
he
And
did
also
say,
issues with this team is it's kind of how it has to be for
Yeah.
this team to win games is he has to put everything on his shoulders and just be Superman and just get us down the
Yeah.
field and score, which is I have a big issue with for the offense.
Okay.
Just-
yeah.
So this is my second question. Going forward, what do you think the Bills need to do to move out of that divisional round? Because there's two, we've done it twice already. So what do you guys think that they need to do moving forward?
Well, I'll start.
Anybody can go first.
I'll go first here because it brings up one of my questions for all of you. And we might as well get it all out on the line, right? And Nautica, this is coming. The offensive line,
oh my god.
okay. I want to talk for a moment about the offensive line in terms of what do we do moving forward this season. I have question marks. I'm going to go over each position and just ask you guys. I'm not comfortable with Deion Dawkins at left tackle anymore. I think that it would be really a good time to move him inside if we're going to each
No.
draft.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think I'll do that, but
Okay.
keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. No, keep going.
Keep going.
Okay. I'm in favor of considering that. Okay. Left guard is a complete mystery to me at this point. I don't know who's
Here we
going
go,
to be
sister.
there.
I think we move Bates back over to left guard.
Yeah.
I do too.
Okay. Because I have him for right guard. So
No,
center,
I move him over. Yeah.
center, Mitch Morse, not getting any younger, big concussion history. I think it's very important that we draft his replacement, and that replacement, usually you'll see when a player is drafted, like I remember when Eric Wood was drafted, they don't immediately go to center because that's a difficult position. They'll start out at guard. So if we drafted somebody that we intend to have take Morris's place, then we could possibly have an extra guard there for filling
Left
in at
guard,
left
right
guard
guard.
or right guard for this year. But Morse beyond this year for me is a real question mark because of his age and his concussion history. And I had Bates at right guard, so I don't know, where that's.
He's more comfortable at left guard. We moved him
Mhm.
over when we drafted, not drafted, excuse me, when we
Roger
traded for, when we got Saffold out of free agency last year.
Gotcha.
So they
So
moved
What I
him
would
over.
do is take your idea, Robin, and like draft somebody to replace Mitch Morris, but then put them at left guard for right now.
No, I would put
Or
him at
not
right
left
guard.
right guard.
Yeah,
sorry, right
yeah.
guard.
right guard.
Well,
I don't
okay.
think Bates is good at left guard at all. And excuse me, at right guard. I don't think Bates is good at right guard. And maybe that's a little bit because Spencer Brown had a down year.
So
Yeah,
then
but-
put Bates at left guard then? That's what
Yeah, I
think
would put
we should
Bates
do.
at left guard.
So where does Tommy Doyle fit in all of this?
Hold
He's
on.
back. He's back
Let me-
up.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish where I'm going across
Go
the
ahead.
line here. Yes. Okay. Right guard, right tackle. Spencer Brown, I'm in complete agreement. Had a rough year. I have a lot of question marks about whether or not he's going to be. He's got a bad back for one thing, but he needs to be able to improve his technique. And I don't know I don't know if he's a settled person at right tackle. So I do think the Bills are going to need to draft a tackle in the upcoming draft and a guard that may move to center at the very least, and then maybe add with free agency. Okay, that's where I'm at. So you guys think that it's heresy to move Dawkins inside?
Yeah, I wouldn't move. That's Josh's trust point right there, the left tackle. So
It's true. It's true.
He
It's-
definitely needs to get better, but I wouldn't move him.
Yeah.
and I think it's more, and I got crucified when I said this the other day. I thought Saffold had such a down year
He did.
that I actually
He
think it
affected
made
Deion
Dawkins
Dawkins.
that it made
Absolutely.
Dawkins look bad.
Yeah.
So same thing on the other side. Bates, made a comment that it's even though he's played multiple positions on the line, it was very difficult because your movement, the way you're going is
Well, Fina
all
said the
flipped.
same thing with
Yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say.
Mhm.
So, one of the great things about getting to pick Jerry Ostrowski's brain all the time is
Mhm.
Yes.
whether or not what he thinks is wrong with with the line and everything. He and Fina both think that Spencer Brown, it might be his back that made him have such a bad year. So I'm hoping with the rest and he had the surgery and him coming off of all that, he's gonna be better. Now that's not saying that I don't think we should draft somebody,
No,
but
yeah.
I think that right guard
Mhm.
is where we should be drafting.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of people who have played right guard and center that are going into this draft, which I think would be perfect because, like Robin was saying, you get somebody in for the guard position, and then
Move
you
him
know there's a couple of people say that Morse might retire, or
Mhm.
if he doesn't retire, he could be on the trade block.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of money we can save, I think it's like $6 or $7 million.
Yes.
So
And we're strapped, and that's definitely a consideration.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you because you brought it up, T, because I have a question about and wonder what you guys think about Tommy Doyle.
I think he's a great backup.
Yeah, I think he's coming off an ACL, right? Injury. So I don't think, yeah. So I mean, I think he's a great backup too. I was just wondering where he fits in all of this, and I know he's not a starter.
Dion's, technically he's Dion's backup.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
For my thing is the offensive line. I'm all in on protect Josh Allen this year
At all costs.
He needs it. Like that's our franchise guy. Like look at KC. Like 2020.
Oh, great point.
They got blown up every which way by the Buccaneers defensive line, and then the year after they completely revamped their offensive line, and he didn't get sacked once in the Super Bowl. So from
and that defense was top 5, top 3.
Yeah, they were,
and they didn't even get. They really didn't even get to him.
No,
like I mean, they got him off his spot. Don't get me wrong. They ran him down. The one-legged man ran.
But it's back home, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So for me, I think this offensive line has really been a big disappointment this year. We all kind of were like, "Oh, we got Roger Saffold. This is going to be great." Like we have Aaron Comer back. This is going to be really good.
We had 2 starters come from another team,
Yeah.
and one was
didn't do anything.
No, and one in Questenberry was basically coming in as the second string, and still not doing anything.
Oh my
but
God.
I think that's one thing that I want us to look at in the offseason on offensive line and defensive line. I'm a little tired of the rotating. I think we do it way too much.
Especially with young guys. We have so many young defensive line people.
I thought it was smart in the beginning. I'm like, oh, they're never going to be tired, but they're also never going to get into rhythm. And I don't feel like, and we're moving. Not only are they coming in and out of the game, not even from the same position. Sometimes they're coming in and out of the game and they're rotating on the line themselves.
Yeah.
Because Bates will come in and he'll be at right guard, but then all of a sudden Saffold goes out and they need to move Bates over to like. It's crazy how much rotating they did throughout the year. And granted, we weren't healthy, so that's why we had a lot of that. But I think that we need to kind of establish who are going to be our starting 5 and hopefully stay healthy enough to keep that.
And he will never say who the starting 5 is. Like it's this big old secret.
Oh, I know.
It's like it's ridiculous. It really is. And one thing I am really tired of. I'm really tired of chasing Kansas City. I'm so tired of us always.
No, we're not just chasing Kansas City either. We're chasing the Bengals too.
Yeah, them too. Now them too. So I mean, people are saying the window is closed. I mean, it's the AFC.
No,
it's getting tight. It's getting tight. I mean, it's not closed, but people are catching up.
Josh Allen, it's not closed.
It's not, but it's definitely they're getting closer. Miami is there. Freaking the Jets only need one quarterback, and they're in it. And someone said if Rodgers go there, the Jets are over us. And I'm like, all right, dude, calm down a little bit. You're getting a little crazy right now. But I mean, just chill because they're a dumpster fire.
For the offensive line part of it, I don't like Spencer Brown. Like,
but his rookie season, he was fine.
But
it has to be.
But if you get a fast guy over there, like how many times did Melvin Gordon just run around him?
Yeah.
That one game, and
he doesn't have. Yeah, he's not. His feet is not. Even Fina said his feet. Yeah, his feet. He's like when I watch him, I just want to scream, and I'm just like, I'm with you, Fina, and I don't really, I'm with you.
But for draft purposes, I think I would draft Spencer Brown's replacement. For I don't watch a lot of college football, but I do watch Tennessee Vols because my cousin's husband is a big Tennessee Vols fan. And he was telling me about Darnell Wright, who is there right now.
Oh, yeah.
Who has been a big name, I think, been brought up especially with the Buffalo Bills. So I like him a lot, but they just have to be better. Like, I don't know if it's coaching or what it is.
That's a good question. Do you think Brandon Beane knows?
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we all talk about, Josh's decision here and there. And, is it the coordinators at this point? Because, is Josh able to audible if he doesn't like the play? Is he able to change it up? And if the play, you have your first read and your second read and whatnot, but what if both of those aren't aren't available, and and then he looks like a mess because he's going for the quick out at that moment. So I'm wondering, if they're giving him the opportunity to audible, and if so, is it on him, or is it the fact that and I'm going to defend Dorsey to a certain extent, but I am not giving him a blank check.
No.
I feel like I watched a conversation with a couple players that said that the offense is actually a very difficult, complicated offense. You could have fooled all of us because we're looking out there like, where the heck are the misdirections, and where the heck
there's no movement anymore.
there's
Sarah,
nothing.
How many times in a game did you like watch a replay and you would see Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie staying in the exact same spot, or it'd be Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox like in the exact same spot? It's like, why are you both in the same area?
Actually, it was
like,
a touchdown.
Yeah,
It was a
we're the same
touchdown in the end
next to each other.
zone,
What's
and I was like,
going on?
okay,
Yeah.
Isaiah McKenzie's right there. It's like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
And the same thing with Cooks. With Cook, at one point,
That
I was
frustrated me.
like, he looks so confused. And I had several podcasts where I was like, stop throwing him the ball. Let him run the ball. Stop throwing it to him. Because and then it was
But are they not being creative enough with giving them? Because a lot of times they'd have they give him a little screen pass and they'd have Isaiah McKenzie out there blocking for him. Like Isaiah McKenzie's going to block anybody,
right.
and it wouldn't work. So I'm like, what is that? That's not.
It was either, I think it was the Cleveland game, but it was in Detroit, where the first quarter, if you guys ever have a chance to go back and watch, I was close enough. I was close enough to see Josh yelling at Cook, like, no, go here, go. And Cook is
wow.
like he was so confused. And this is what, week 10, week 11, it
wow.
was so far into the season that I'm like, how can be that confused? But the next game, I think it was the Detroit game, they started running the ball more with him. And it was like,
They dump
he
off?
looked
Like, how many catches did he have? He had a lot of catches that game.
and then all of a sudden he's running the ball, and thinking about catching it seems to be like a non-issue. And all of a sudden he's catching the ball like it's nothing.
Right.
But it was not, it didn't seem like they were schemed up in a certain way. It was more just like, snap the ball. Okay, you're going to get the ball, so you better turn around and catch it. It wasn't like, again, no misdirection, no
creativity at all.
no creativity in how they're lined up and where, so it seemed like all of a sudden they went to be more of a vanilla type of offense to get him going, but he did get going. But then it's I feel like we never kind of went back. We never added more pieces.
Was it the Bears game where him and Singletary both almost at 100
Yeah,
yards?
that was a beautiful game.
And
I mean,
then
and
they
it was
never did
also
that again.
against the Bears too. So
I get that, but it's
yeah,
come on.
yeah. But
But yeah,
I
so
do like what
that's
you
my
said
biggest-
though,
That's my
because
biggest
Naeem
question.
Hines said it too, that the
Oh,
playbook was
Don't get me
very
started on
difficult.
Naeem Hines.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
But is
I
that
mean-
issue too, where the playbook is too complicated, the players don't even know what's going on? Should they?
Well, I mean, new players.
New players.
You have players that have studied it since the off season, which I'm
Yeah.
sure are fine with it. But then you have first year players coming in, rookies who've never had that complicated of a playbook,
Mhm.
and a first year play caller. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
everything coming together. My biggest thing, and that's what I've been kind of going back and forth, are these Josh's mistakes where he's throwing the ball and it looks terrible, or he's completely ignoring a wide open wide receiver and trying to shove it into somebody else, or is it because the play called for that and he's not able to audible and go for the go for what he sees?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
It is a good. Those are
Good
fair
question.
questions in terms of Josh, because we saw this with him at Wyoming
Mhm.
in terms of sometimes getting too aggressive and changing the play, doing basically whatever he sees fit on the field. And sometimes that can be a problem. You have to wonder, there's a little relationship change that happens when you go from being, one position as an advisor, quarterback coach, to OC, and how that relationship with Josh, how did that change? How did that evolve?
Mhm.
You have to wonder. And I think that what Sarah said, those are fair questions. And we have to we don't know the answer to that in terms of, is it audible or is it, is it Josh out there doing Josh things?
Let me ask you, do you think he should be on the field?
Who?
Ken
Dorsey?
Dorsey.
Oh, Dorsey on the field.
I mean,
I
I think mentally it might help Josh, but I also think that from an offensive coordinator, like you could see the
better.
field,
Yes,
the field
right.
better.
And also,
I only say that
Joe
just to
Brady
reel
said.
Josh in sometimes, because I personally think sometimes when Josh is having these moments, someone needs to sit him down and say, bro, you cannot continue to do this. Like, there's games out there, you just like, dude, take the check down. Stop throwing the ball. I mean, I guess that the Miami game frustrated me. They were sending their mom, the kitchen sink, the babies, everybody was coming. And Josh continued to throw the ball. And I don't know if it was called for that, throwing the ball deep every single time. And I think that was the plan.
The cover zero is
right. Exactly.
We're gonna try and like the point is to make a quick decision.
Absolutely.
But also it's like hopefully we can get to him fast enough where he can't throw the ball down the field that much because you're
right.
Single coverage.
But it just frustrated me. That game frustrated me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like,
yeah. Anybody else have a question? Because I'm done with my two. So you guys.
I have a question for.
Go ahead.
This is more of a coaching question between Dorsey and Frazier. For me, this offseason, I was after the game. I'm like, fire everybody. I don't want a single coach on this team anymore. I was so, but I've kind of calmed down, and I think give Dorsey another year. If he doesn't come up with an actual game plan and like scheme people, like the Stephon Diggs thing annoyed me. Like I get why he was angry, and I don't think he's a diva at all. I think that I would be angry.
No.
But you watch other teams scheme their number one receiver open, and a lot of times during the games he would have really good first half, and then
disappear.
The defense would adjust, and the offense wouldn't adjust, so then he couldn't get the ball anymore. And I feel like that's an issue with the coaching and the play call.
But I don't even know if it's that, Nautica, because I go back and watch some of the games, and Diggs is open. It's just point blank. It's like it's sometimes yes, he's double teamed, but sometimes he's just open and Josh is not throwing him the ball.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Josh not wanting to throw him the ball.
Right, and
that would make no sense.
Right, and I'm just like, what's going on here? Why are you not your number one wide receiver and you're just like dismissing him? Like,
so I think that what we all complain about trying to spread the ball out a little bit sometimes gets into everyone's head. And I think that Diggs should be targeted at least 10 times a game. Gabe Davis being our number 2 should be targeted at least 7-8 times a game. Dawson Knox especially with the money we paid him, should be targeted at least 6 times a game. Like it is, if we're throwing the ball,
throw it to your guys. You know what I mean?
If we're throwing it 25 to 30 times a game, there is no reason why these guys should not be getting their targets. Instead of targeting, no offense, but McKenzie and like we or even just the running backs who weren't catching the ball the way that they should out of the backfield. Stop giving them your reps. Give give the targets to the people who you're paying to
top
to be
dollar.
Absolutely. I completely agree with everything you guys are saying. And the only thing I can add about Stephon Diggs is I'm with you. I don't like people labeling him a diva because I don't think that's what he's all about. There are wide receivers who are divas, but Stephon Diggs is not one of them.
He's supposed to win like everybody else.
He says exactly what he feels. Yeah. And I think it's important to listen to him because he's going to give you more of a straight scoop in terms of what's going on with the team than Josh is going to give you coach speak. But Stephon doesn't give you coach speak. And
that's why it's very unnerving for me because of the Super Bowl, not so much comments, but letting us into his mind to where it used to be the bromance of Josh and that's my guy. It was none of that talks. So I know nothing is probably going to come from this, but it was just uneasy for me to see Like people are like, he's going to be traded. He wants to play with his brother. I need his brother to calm down. He's a Buffalo Bills fan. I mean, Buffalo Bills player. He's on the Bills. Diggs. What's the name? Trayvon.
Yeah,
Chill out.
traded.
Chill out. Diggs is
Calm
here.
down.
I need you to chill. Like we don't need to lose this guy. I mean, we already probably going to lose Poyer and Tremaine. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, Diggs is here. So the comments that he had was just a little bit uneasy for me as a fan.
Yeah, and then for defensive for me, I like Leslie Frazier. I think he's a great defensive coordinator, but man,
Hasn't changed.
you cannot keep doing what you're like. You cannot. It's 3rd and 1, and you have Tre'Davious White 10 yards away from Jamar Chase. Like that cannot be the call. Like
I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been mad if he was fired. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
No, I was actually, I was okay with keeping Dorsey for another year. Again, it's not like he's a first year OC for the Bills. He's a first year OC period.
Period.
Yeah,
Right.
remember
So,
Brian Daboll's first year, everybody wanted him gone too, and it turned out fine.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and exactly. In 2019, we were all screaming, fire Dable, fire
Heck
Dable,
yeah.
fire Dable.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, but with Frazier, I feel like it's the same thing every year. And I am so tired of this whole prevent defense and,
Oh,
let's give them, let's give, and just make sure they don't get in the end zone. I hate that
Yeah,
mindset. I
yeah.
absolutely hate it because if our offense can't do something, then they're right back out on the field again. And
But Sarah, don't you
just
think
get
it's also Sean McDermott too? Defense?
Well, and
I mean,
that's my
it's a
and that's my
mixture.
question. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's my biggest question, and I keep on asking it. Is this really, Sean McDermott's defense, or is it Leslie Frazier's?
Yeah.
And
Well, there was a
who's
point I think in 2020 where the defense was really bad, and then Sean McDermott took over the defense. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yeah.
He took over play calling duties, and it turned out a little better. So I don't know if he's like, okay, Leslie, just do what you need to do. But at the same time, I think it comes to a point where it's been 5 years, and the defense in the playoffs, especially, just falls apart, and it becomes a point where you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and you got to get it's got to be better because we're going to be losing Jordan Poyer. I think he's definitely gone. I think they pay Tremaine Edmonds. I really do because he's so important to that defense. But you're going to
Well,
get Micah Hyde back.
Not
You
his
don't know what-
comments he had.
Yeah, but
You had to
but
go
you're
and
getting
read the
Micah Hyde back,
article.
and you don't know what's happening with the neck injury. The defensive line, I think, is terrible. And then the defensive line coach, I think, needs to go. Eric Washington, you're trash, in my opinion. And so I think we just need a new mind in that defensive room to change something that, because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting new results. It's the definition of insanity. So
Absolutely.
well, that's the thing that's frustrated me with this defense is especially they went out and got Vaughn, and then I felt like never effectively, had any type of effective pass rush still. It's more like, okay, we're going to send 2 or 3, and if someone gets there, someone gets there. And that's why a lot of people make comments about our defensive tackles not getting sacks and stuff like that. Well, they're not schemed to get sacks.
no,
They're not, if it happens, it happens, because they have the opening, but it's not like an Aaron Darnold, who is going out there, and even though he's a defensive tackle, they are scheming him to shed that,
and Chris Jones,
the
Chris
offensive
Jones is
line.
good.
Chris Jones too. So things like that, I feel like, whoever is calling the plays, and kind of scheming them up, needs to change. And Leslie Frazier, maybe he would be the scapegoat if it is Sean McDermott's, defense. But I just feel like after 4 or 5 years, we can be great all season long. And then the second we get into the playoffs, what becomes a glaring reality is this this bend but don't break type of defense. Guess what? If you break, there's no coming back next week.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that, they get so used to it all year long, but then the playoffs come along, and if you can't have if your defense isn't doing what it has all year, but guess what? Now the offense is struggling, and it's a perfect storm
And
of
also
everything going
especially in
wrong.
the playoffs, you're not playing Mac Jones twice a year. You're not going to play Zach. You're playing Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, like these great quarterbacks. So you playing this like soft shell, just like don't let things get deep behind you. They're going to pick you apart and just score every time. So it's got to be different. And then
we also seen it in the Super Bowl to where the defense wasn't even there. These guys went down the field like it was nothing. So if you're not going to really concentrate on the defense, then you better have some weapons for Josh Allen. So if you're done with this defense per se, then get weapons for Josh. So where he can stay in the game, because 10 points the last game was bull. We didn't score 10 points, and I don't know. I mean, did we score 10 points?
Our lowest was 17 against the Jets.
So we scored 10 points in a playoff game. That can't happen. Now go out and get him some weapons now. Because you spend a lot of money on that defense, and in that last game they didn't show up. I mean, nobody showed up, but
and honestly, I think that if we're gonna look, everyone's looking at free agency for wide receiver. I don't think that that's where we should be looking. I think that we should be looking at a trade, someone who's probably on the rookie contract, and then also draft somebody. So then you have two people coming in. That's have Davis prove it. He's a number two, a consistent number two.
I don't think he is. I think he's a 3 or a 4, more 4 than anything.
I think he's a 4. I think he should be coming in and spelling whoever, who is, the second wide receiver. And when we have 4 wide receivers out there, he's out there.
Because his best season was what? When it was Sanders, Diggs, Beasley, right. And he was a 4. And he had a good season. So you jumped him from 2. And it showed that he wasn't that guy.
I'm all for trading Ed Oliver for a good weapon because, in my opinion, Ed Oliver, bye-bye. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people, and I mean, I know I've said it twice this week on several podcasts already. So yeah, I'm it's one thing that I've been saying for weeks now, probably months, probably towards the end of December is when I started saying it. I'm like he's guaranteed 10 million plus with his 5th-year option. It is definitely a good chance that he is let go, not let go, but traded.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, well, who do you trade for? And they're talking defense. It's either
I've
to me.
I've heard DeAndre Hopkins for.
I don't like DeAndre Hopkins. I put this on Twitter yesterday. His contract for a 31-year-old.
It's high, isn't it?
It is high. It is 16.5 1 year and 19 the next. So I don't like it. He's going to be 31 if he's not already 31. He's either 31 now and turning 31. But and granted, I know how old Diggs is. Mm-hmm. The thing is that to me, it's a very messy contract because we're going to have to, no one's going to give us Hopkins for just Oliver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like you're trading picks and Oliver and taking on, if you look at the difference, another $10 million in salary cap. Brandon Cooks is the same way. And I tweeted, because someone asked the question yesterday and I had replied, Brandon Cooks is the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I've heard contract. Keenan Allen's name. I don't know if I would feel about that. He seemed kind of injury prone.
He does seem injury prone, yeah.
But not even that. We had a guy on the roster, and you let him sit. Isaiah. No.
I think Hodgins. I think Hodgins.
No, that's my thing. He didn't stand a chance getting on the field with his team. They all were like,
no. Giants gave him a chance, and he was the only one out there that could catch the ball.
Yes,
so
for sure.
Being overblown with the Giants thing. He is the number one. They don't have any wide receivers, so he's still the option.
He got signed to a 1-year extension with the Giants.
Yeah, he
did. I was intrigued by the fact that he got a minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and only 1 year. Only 1 year. Yeah. So that they're still not sure if he's going to be out there and he's the guy. Yeah. But they're losing. I think the Giants are losing 2 of their wide receivers to free agency. Whether or not they try to bring them back is a whole
Sterling
question.
Shepard? Sterling is his name Sterling Shepard?
No.
No, it's not
I
him.
can't
It's
think off
somebody
the top
else.
of my
Okay.
head who the two were.
Not important.
They don't
Yeah,
have very good wide receivers, so.
but they're all, you'd be like who, but yeah, they're like number 1 and number 2 wide receivers that are also leaving for free agency. So well, we'll see how that plays out, but I honestly, I like Jerry Jeudy is
Mm.
an option, but now that Denver is going through a complete overhaul with everything, there's no way they're going to let him go, not on his rookie contract.
No.
Because they're thinking that they can fix Wilson and fix that offense. So there's absolutely no chance they'll let him go now. So
Yeah.
you have to look at someone who's, again, hopefully on their rookie contract, that maybe hasn't shown everything that the team wants to see, or the team is just not as good as they wanted to be, and they have to make some pieces move. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing that I think that we can hope for, is to get a wide receiver on a rookie contract.
My thing is drafting a wide receiver. I really like Jalen Hyatt. I've seen.
See, I'm not a huge fan of Hyatt,
You're not a
especially
fan
not
of
in the first. I know you
From
watch
Wake
Tennessee a
Forest?
lot. I feel
He's
like
good, man.
I
know.
feel like Tennessee has that offense that whoever was playing wide receiver would look ridiculous. So
That is
I
true. They
just,
did kind of have that offense.
yeah, and who's the other wide receiver for Tennessee? I can't think of his name, but he went down with an injury, so Hyatt was pretty much the only
Yeah,
one.
I can't remember his name either. It's gonna bother
Yeah,
me.
so he was pretty much the only one that came out, to actually play well, So it makes me a little.
Jordan Addison is another one I've seen. Like
He might not be there though for us.
Yeah, so
he might get taken like right before, but in my
they're
opinion,
saying Jordan Addison will probably get picked before we have the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like more mid-round guys. I kind of want to do our offensive line with our first pick. It's not sexy at all, but
it is for the Bills.
It is for the Bills, right? And in my opinion, there is only 2 or 3 wide receivers worth taking in the first round. If they're gone, do not stretch. Now, if Johnston from TCU is available, Quentin Johnston, I say throw everything in. Even like if he's available at 21, move up, because he is going to be one of those wide receivers, in my opinion, that is going to make a big difference.
But the problem is, even if we draft somebody, do you think our Charlie Threat will play them?
Well, that's a question. Like
because he didn't
what
play Kaiir Elam very much.
What are they seeing that we don't? What are they seeing that we don't? So but a name to watch out for is, in my opinion, 4th, 5th round is Xavier Hutchinson. I really like him. And so, and he'll be, I always say he'll be there probably a little bit later on. I think he could probably gain 10 pounds. He's a little lengthy for me. It makes me feel like he's gonna break in half. I mean, he's like he's like 6'2", 6'3", but he's only like 210. Like,
wow.
But so if
I think that he's young, he probably just is a late bloomer, and he'll probably his body.
What amazes me, and even seeing him at the Senior Bowl and everything, is his route running is just ridiculous.
Really?
Good.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of how good Diggs is with route running. So I look forward to it. Now, we tend to want these small little, teeny weeny little speed guys. I don't think we're gonna find a Tyreek Hill in this draft. So I don't think we should pretend
I want a
that
big
we're gonna
wide receiver. I don't want.
I want a big one too. Yeah. Thank you. So I want
Diggs, who's not there.
I need Josh. I need a 50-50 ball type of wide receiver.
Yep.
That's what I want. I don't want these little guys no more.
Yeah, and I think that there's a couple.
Robinson, I'm gonna be really upset.
I wouldn't be. Bijan's another one. If he's there at 27, I would not be upset.
We gotta have a draft show, apparently.
No, I think that if Bijan's there at 27, that's also another person like you say yes to.
He's a great talent, but like another.
There's no guarantee that we're gonna keep Hines. I think it's like a $6 million. It is, but it's like a $6 million save.
Yeah.
Now I want us to keep him. I want us to keep him. I think not only can he be the second, back, but he could also, obviously do all of our returns and everything else.
And we won't have to worry about that.
Well, we need to make sure that that they scheme him in somehow, because they obviously didn't play him and utilize him the way he should be.
And they spoke about that in their last press conference, which they said they didn't utilize his talent and utilize him in the offense too much this year, which was crazy. And that goes back to the playbook and being a difficult playbook to grasp, I guess. So I mean, it's a lot of potential. Apparently, we got a lot of potential and a lot of thinking that we have to do in the off season. And again, like I said, we might have to have a draft show, because you ladies, not girls, women, know a lot about players, and me and Robin is just taking it in, and I love it. I do have some players though that I might have to give to you, Sarah, and see where you're at on these players that I picked, because I got some old linemen. I have no idea, and Robin knows I got a guy that also helps me out as well.
My thing is, just get Josh all the weapons in the world. I don't really care.
Absolutely.
So I will just say right off the top, there was a couple of offensive linemen that I think that we would love to see. There's a center, John Michael Schmidt. He was ridiculous at the Senior Bowl. Who else? Cody Mouch. He's a toothless wonder.
Toothless wonder.
Toothless wonder. He has no front teeth. Red hair, long red hair. He played at a smaller school. He played at North Dakota State. So definitely a smaller school. But intriguingly, like, I got to talk to him, and out of everyone I spoke with, he was the most easygoing. Like, he just acted like he didn't care that there was cameras in his face, that there was, everyone had a cell phone like underneath his chin, and trying to record what he was saying. He just talked like he had spoken to the media for years, which was one of the cool things about being at the Senior Bowl and having the media credentials, and getting an opportunity to talk to some of the guys. He will be very intriguing as well. The last person, and give me one second. Sorry, my mom's cat is being annoying. The Osiris Torrance from Florida.
Yes.
I spoke with him, and he joked a lot about his weight and this and that and what he likes to eat. It was an entertaining conversation, but I didn't know much about him other than the fact that he played on a team that I can't stand, the Florida Gators. So it was intriguing to talk to him, but in a non-cocky type of way, he had mentioned that he had never let up one sack in all of in his whole college career, and it's over 3,000 snaps.
Oh, wow.
One sack. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
You need somebody like that.
We do.
And we need, listen, let's just be honest, we need some dogs. I'm sick and tired, nice or nice guys, whatever. I want some mean mother brunkers in our freaking, come on. I'm tired of the Mr. Nice Guy. I need a Daquan Jones, a dude like that they brought here. I need somebody like that. Like, I think we are fans tired of this nice guy mentality. We need some dogs in there. So, like I said, we got to do this again, because I think, is everybody done with their questions? Did anybody have any more?
I'm good with my questions.
I'm good.
All right, awesome. We got to do this again, because you guys I'm writing stuff down, and I'm going to give
Sarah's names down.
Yeah, no, I have some drafts picks here that I'm going to talk to Sarah. I'm going to throw some stuff to her and see how she feels about this one guy that I got on here. But yeah, I love doing this, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. So again, plug your shows, plug what you're doing. I'll start with you first, Robin, and we'll just go around.
Well, of course, Tea Time with Robin. We record on Thursdays and it drops on Fridays, and we're just getting our flow going, I think, and going to tackle a lot of other kinds of issues leading up to the draft and during the off season. I do want to mention just one thing for our fan base, Buffalo fan base blog. If you're interested in learning about who the Bills are scouting and et cetera, in terms of et cetera, lots of et cetera, Dean Kindig, he's a great follow on Twitter. He's TC Bills _Astro. Don't ask me why. But he does an incredible amount of research. It's his hobby. He's retired and he has done this for about 20 years. So if you're following anybody for draft information and unique draft information, because like I said, he goes through interviews, like 200 interviews, and scouts them for whether or not they would be a fit in Bean and McDermott's kind of culture. So that's an added consideration because they have said there are certain players they just won't draft no matter how good they are. So he kind of goes through all of that. So that's what we're doing.
Yes. All righty. Whoever.
All right. Well, follow me on Twitter. I post some fun Bill stuff on there sometimes.
Yes.
I'm usually in spaces with like Whittle and LaShawn. I've been taking a little break because of all stuff going on in my life, but usually I'm there. We talk a lot of Bills, we talk a lot of just NFL. So when I come on spaces, it's a fun time. It can get a little rowdy sometimes, but it's,
Oh,
yeah.
it's usually fun. So, yeah, that's what I'm usually doing on Twitter these days.
All right. And y'all can follow me on Twitter at Sarah, SARA_Larson. And catch me on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. with Jerry Ostrowski for the 3-Man Rush, which is going to become Line to Gain probably within the next 30 days.
I definitely love that title, that podcast title. I am T. Follow me if you like. If you don't, that's cool too. I'm on the Building Buffalo Network. I have a podcast with Mike. It's Not Your Average Podcast in the 716. Also with Robin, Tea Time with Robin. It drops on Fridays. I go live with Not Your Average Podcast at 2:00 on the Building Buffalo Network Facebook page. Come on over and say hi. We chill. We're not too serious. We just talk. Bills. That is it. Okay, but thank you, ladies. I appreciate you coming on, and we're gonna do it again. We're definitely gonna do this again.
All right, sounds good.
All right, y'all. And always, it's always go Bills.
Go Bills.